Hi, Nerdies. This is Dani, and we're doing something a little different today than our normal sessions. I'm here with Roll for Rainbow, another D&D podcast made up by LGBT members for LGBT people, and Happy Pride Month. So can you guys go on and introduce yourselves, the characters you play, the race, class, stuff like that?
Yeah, Alyssa, go first. You're the showrunner.
DM, go first. Speak for us.
If you insist.
Go, Dad.
Hi there. I'm Alyssa Mandrasina. I use she/they pronouns. I'm the DM of the Laskia campaign, but I also play Rain in Trinity's Camp Honeydew offshoots.
Right. I'm Trinity. Trinity Foskett. I play Safria Farlake, our wildfire druid, and I DM the Camp Honeydew offshoots. Oh, and I use she/they pronouns as well.
And I'm Julian. I go by they/them pronouns. I'm the resident Brazilian of the group, and I play Victor Event. He's a changeling warlock who's not very nice. And on the Honeydew offshoot, I'm Trent, and he is very nice.
So true.
Oh, our group is we're all kind of low-key asshole-ish, so I get that.
Oh yeah. Everyone. The only person that's not an asshole is Emmett, who plays July, who is not here, but
Yes.
they play the nicest possible dude, and me and Julian go back and forth of who can be the worst person on the podcast.
I feel so bad because my character, she's got a superiority complex, and I keep wanting to apologize to NPCs and stuff, and I'm so sorry.
I feel you so bad. My character will go on to do the worst shit anyone's ever seen, and on the back scenes I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
It's funny because we just had this conversation we recorded episode 15 of Laskia not too long ago, and there was a bit where an NPC offers magical items. It's you can pick one, kind of like that Halloween candy basket where they leave it at the doorstep and they're take one. July followed that rule, who is Emmett's character. July followed that rule, and Safria and Victor were so how much can I get away with? And I'm pretty much anything.
How much can I put behind my back in my pockets without anyone noticing? And I didn't feel bad about it at all. we had a moral discussion after of do we feel bad about this? I do not, because it's not real. So
I mean, fair enough,
I felt awful.
It's since it's fake, moral compass out the window.
So true.
It's not true people anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
So how long have you guys been playing D&D together?
Oh god, let's see. Because the earliest compass of this is actually Julian's Twitter. Weirdly, because there was actually an original campaign that happened before Laskia happened.
Mm-hmm.
We had a different group, and then it switched up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met Alyssa through that, and then when we went on hiatus and then came back as Roll for Rainbow now, we added Julian to the group, switched DMs, switched characters. So actually the earliest instance of that will be because Julian actually drew
I drew fan art.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking it up right now too.
Yeah. To see what that day is.
Yeah. Shout out to the folks, the 20 people who remember the Kalawesta campaign. I love you.
All 5 of you.
So our parents.
Shout out to my mom, who didn't even listen to it because she's fake.
She's what?
My mom listened to Honeydew, so good on you, Mom. But
my mom totally forgot that I was part of a podcast, and I'm it's alright. It's alright.
April 5th, 2021 is the thing I have.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep.
And Roll for Rainbow, as it is now with this cast and crew, is started in September. We started recording in September, and I think we uploaded our first episode a little later. So we'll be almost within a few months, almost a full year of Roll for Rainbow as it is now.
That's great.
Crazy.
That's insane.
That is crazy to
And-
think about. I was thinking about it the other day.
I know Emmett, right, isn't here with us right
Yep.
now, but do you guys have any other players that are a part of your group that aren't here? Or is it
No,
just like
it's just
the four
us.
of you?
No.
Just us four.
Okay.
I would love to have like a guest segment one day though. Like find someone that's like, you're gonna be a guy for like 2 days, and then we gotta get you out of here.
We have
Oh,
invited
we had that. Yeah, it's fun.
we have invited Taika Waititi once, but he hasn't replied yet.
I would. Oh my god! You'd have to kick me out. You would have to kick me out. We've talked
We're
about this.
insane. No, I know.
Dang it, I guess
You would not
we'll
know
both
how to
like tag
behave.
him on Twitter when we post this. Just like, hey, you could have been a part of this.
I think if he sees my
Come
Twitter,
over.
he'll block me. Like for real. Like.
What?
For his own mental health, he should.
For his own mental health, he should block me on Twitter because I also thirst tweet him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys like kind of all meet up and like start this campaign?
I was
So,
okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
do you want me to go?
Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay, cool. So after our sort of hiatus after Caloesta, Emmett came up to me and was like, "Man, I want to do Roll for Rainbow again, but like I couldn't do another campaign. I put so much work into Caloesta, I couldn't do it again." And I was like, "Well, I just got the DM's guide and the player's handbook and the monster manual for Christmas. So let me look at that." And I read all 3 books cover to cover. Don't do that. Whoever's listening,
You were the first
Don't do
person
that.
ever.
It's impressive
I'm kidding,
though.
I'm kidding.
when I do things, I do not half-ass them. But this with like reading stuff, you don't have to do that. Please don't. It's really boring. But I did that, and then I did some looking on like Reddit and stuff, and I was like, man, I need ideas, and I found one about an eldritch deity who comes to the adventurers in their dreams and offers them an incredible quest. And I was like, I can work with that. So within a couple months, I had like a solid world set, and it was like, well, we're down a person, and I was like, hello, Julian, can we talk? So that's kind of
great.
things from my end. I don't know if anyone has anything to add.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Emmett and I have been friends for, I want to say almost 3 years at this point. Maybe shorter, maybe longer. I don't remember. Because I'm horrible with dates. But essentially, I'm an artist. It's my main thing. It's my major in college. And I had an early pandemic. I was like, I need some money. I can't work right now, so I need to start doing commissions. I started doing commissions, and they bought a print. And I was like, hey, I've stalked your Twitter, and it looks really cool. Like, do you want to be friends? We became friends that way. We ended up joining a completely separate D&D campaign, and we're like, this is so much fun, and we became friends that way. And we started talking about it, and we're like, let's make a podcast, and then this has been born.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
On my side, Alyssa and I met each other when we were like fetuses. It was like 2016 or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
something like that.
We were
I
in
was still in high school.
school. And I got into D&D in college, as many people do, I guess. And I was like talking to her about like, oh, I have an idea for a character. They're gonna be like a secret changeling or something, and I really want to play warlock. And then like a bunch of years later, Alyssa comes up to me and be like, hey, do you want to test out your warlock? And I'm like, hell yeah. And I'm in a podcast.
I didn't know
now.
that.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that worked out wonderfully for y'all. Like
Very
really.
much so.
We share one single brain cell that we toss at each other constantly.
As it should be.
I like
That's
to
how-
think
that's how
I
you
hold
keep
the
things
brain cell more
interesting.
often than not.
You do. You have a spare one. You have 2.
There we go.
Out
There
of
we
all
go.
4 of us, you definitely have it most often. Emmett and
feel
I
like
never
have
get
to.
it.
It's like, do you guys get like weekend visitations with it?
Yeah,
The brain
we have
cell.
to fight for custody over it. We've gone to court
Shared
multiple
custody.
times.
So what is what was your last? Oh, I'm gonna mispronounce it so badly.
Laskia.
Laskia. Okay, I was like, I know it's not just Laskia. I know there was something at the end of it, but it was like it was away from you. So what is that campaign about?
Oh, where do I begin? Laskia is a soul continent ruled by a council of elders, just called the Council, that no one ever really sees, and no one ever really knows anything about like who's on it or who's involved. They just know that their one rule is no magic in Laskia at all whatsoever. And the and the
I
punishment.
always know how that goes. Sorry.
The punishment for such would be death, as it so happens. So of course, we have our 3 players, all of which are magic users, sort of fighting to protect magic by working with some sort of shall we say shady entity. I don't think they know quite what Cabris is, but Cabris is Cabris.
Cabris is a scammer.
So, Cabris,
He's got my soul away from me.
He's a little con artist. What can I say? So yeah, they have to sort of be sneaky about the mission that they're on, and be sneaky about kind of who they are. I think especially Victor, because Victor was like, "I want to be a changeling," and I was like, "Well, consider where you are.
Consider the consequences." And I was like, "Okay, I like hard mode."
Yeah, you decided to play my game on hard mode for sure.
That sounds lovely, and also like it could be a total nightmare, like getting yourself into situations. Because I love you guys, I love my party, but we are like a bull in a china store.
Yep.
We have anything to do.
If there's a situation I can provoke, I am provoking it. Like there was well, I think my favorite scene that we've done maybe was we went to I don't remember what episode it is. I'm bad at what episodes or what, but we went to a ball, like a royal ball, and my ex was there, and it was just something, and
it was fun.
I was going to provoke that the hardest I could.
That sounds like a time though. Like y'all sound
we
like you have fun.
Oh, we have a lot of fun.
We do.
Oh my goodness. So what kind of like made you guys decide to start a podcast?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I think it was over the course of like quarantine. I kind of just had nothing to do, and it was like I had started just listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of like Not Another D&D Podcast, NADPod, a lot of like Dungeons and Daddies, a lot of whatever Dimension 20, like kind of just a bunch of podcasts just to pass time. And I was like, this is actually really fun, and it was the reason I started playing D&D in the first place. I like hadn't done it until I listened to a podcast. And I was like, I could do that. I want to project myself onto the internet on purpose.
Yeah, I think that's about accurate. I mean, we were kind of like, when Emmett pitched it to me, it was very much like, well, we're going to be playing D&D anyway, why don't we just record it? I was like, okay, fun. And then when we started Laskia, I mean, Laskia is my first time ever DMing. Like, I've never DM'd before this point. I've played in a couple games, and I've really only been around D&D at this point. I'm gonna say almost 3 years now. We're coming up on 3 years. But at the time, I had only been in D&D for like a year, so I was like, this is daunting. And everyone's gonna see me fuck up as a DM live, so this is great. But it's been a blast, and people have been great about it. I actually have people who like DM me, and it's like, hey, did you know about like this rule? there was when I think I introduced what was it? I can't remember what episode, but it was when an NPC brought up like wild shape potions. Someone was like, "How does this work?" And I'm like, "This is homebrewed, but this is how I make it." And they're like, "Oh, cool! This is also kind of an item." Like, I think it's just people have been really supportive about like elements of this podcast, which I'm so grateful for. That I haven't incurred an asshole who was just like. Hey, you suck. And it's like, I know, leave me alone.
According to the manual, it should be like this.
According to the rules.
Yeah.
The day we get a hate comment, I'm framing it. Like, for real.
The day we're getting a hate comment, I'm gonna chew up their kneecaps.
Like, really.
Don't say shit about Alyssa, okay?
Damn, alright.
And it's just... Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say... in my case, I already listened to Roll for Rainbow before, so when Alyssa hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you wanna be part of Roll for Rainbow?" I went like, "Oh fuck yes!" Of course, I want to be part of Roll for Rainbow.
And I just see so many like comments in the like every once in a while, someone will be like, "Can't wait for the next episode," and it's like this has people like this is affecting people in a way that is like incredible to see. That it's like. Even if it's like 3 people are like, I really like this episode. It's like 3 people out there are listening to me talk for 2 hours and are really liking it.
Yeah.
So it's
True,
like,
that's insane.
It's insane to like see because of course part of you wants to be like, I want to go on tour and I want to do this professionally and I want to have people like follow me because of my podcast. But then it's like those baby steps are so much bigger than you think they're gonna be. And of course, it wouldn't be possible without Alyssa absolutely plugging the fuck out of our podcast.
True.
Constantly.
Alyssa's positively terrifying on how much it works for Roll for Rainbow. She's like the real MVP, and nothing would happen without her behind the scenes.
Nothing. We would be at 1 follower if Alyssa was not like the force behind it.
I mean, I think there is something to be said for the amount of work I do for this podcast. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I mean, I am the main DM. I am half of our editing crew, and I am our social media manager. And just general Roll for Rainbow manager, I guess, is what we've started calling me, aka Dad on the podcast. So.
Dad. Father.
Perfect.
Father. So I mean, yeah, this is it is obviously still like a hobby for me. It's not this isn't like anything we make money off of, but it's fun and I love seeing, you know, sort of this little corner of the TTRPG community that we have sort of grow and flourish.
Yeah, it's great.
And I hope it continues to stay like this because I think we all genuinely just have so much fun doing it. Is the main point. Is that like there's specifically a session we did because we kind of record very far in advance. Like an episode that we will make is like this isn't going to come out until 2 months from now. But like we recorded an episode where our characters just had a sleepover and it was the most fun we've had ever. It was just like all of us laughing for just such a long time. And I think that's like such a great thing about this group is that I'm never not cracking myself up like with everyone.
True. You guys are very funny.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
All right, I need to know though, has there been a beach episode?
I want a beach episode more than anything.
You're not.
I know Evan does too.
I know as the DM they want this to happen. Truthfully, the beach episode probably will not happen until towards the end of the campaign because they have to hit like our little port city called Tippert. I'm very clever, clearly. Yeah, I think that will come like towards the end because it's also July's hometown, so that'll be interesting. But we have had some of the like staple episodes. Like we have a sleepover episode that will come out soon. We've had our little like gala ball episode, and things like that. So we're sticking to those tropes a little bit.
I mean, they're tropes because they're good, you know? They're fun.
So true. So true.
Like,
You're right.
We've had bathhouse episodes, and they're just, oh my goodness, we cause a ruckus. I'm surprised we don't get kicked out during those episodes. And then we'll have, like, saucy girl talk in the locker room gossiping about the boys, and then the boys are like, you're scrawny. You need to eat more, dude. You know, and it's just chaos.
Just comparing muscle sizes.
Yeah. And then like when the scary NPC comes in, he's like, I'm just chilling here. I don't know what you guys are afraid of. And I'm like, no, it's time to leave, guys. I'm a coward. Let's go. It's a riot. Oh my goodness.
And those one-off episodes, I think, from a storytelling standpoint, they're so important. Because if you're like, if you're trying not to die all the time, how are you gonna show people who you are? You know?
Right.
Gives you little bits about like character personality and little quirks. I feel like it really helps like round out characters, you know?
True.
Yeah, because I've never been one for like huge combat. That's why I don't think I could ever, like, I know I'm the worst TTRPG player ever. I cannot get into Critical Role purely because of the amount of fights. Like, I am an anti-fight. I skip the fight episodes of D20. I'm the worst. And so it's just like the occasional fight is fun because you're like, my character is strong and it's fun to showcase that. But I do love just genuinely like the role play aspect of talking to your character and building these bonds.
True.
Oh yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah,
I'm intimidated. Oh, sorry. No, what are you saying?
We're definitely like an 80-20 when it comes to like role play to combat. I think that's a pretty good ratio for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't put a percentage on it, but I think every like 3 or 4 sessions or so we'll have a combat. So it's kind of like we'll have like 3 sessions without combat. We're like, okay, JJ, when's it coming? When's it coming?
Right,
like,
right.
I'm ready.
Yeah. And I think it's more fun that way because the combat feels impactful. It's like you're fighting for a story reason, not because it's like roll on the encounter table and there's a deer in the woods you have to beat the shit out of. It's like this is happening and you have to take care of it.
True. And also like I think fights and boss battles and stuff, they're more fun when you're not going just like, oh, I hit him, and the next turn you're like, oh, I hit him again, and then you go, oh, I hit him again. Like we're in Laskia and Roll for Rainbow, we're all spellcasters, so we kind of do different things in battle to like stall the enemy or hold them down or something, because combat is not about just hitting things. And I think a lot of D&D players forget that because the rules incentivize you to just beat the shit out of the deer in the woods.
And it's like, can I use this spell to do the thing it's not intended to do, but I think it'll be fun?
Getting a little creative.
Most of the time Alyssa allows, which is great. Because they're like, fine, you can use Entangle to jump off the building and use it be a landing pad. Like, yeah, you can do that. So it's like, like, that makes it so much more fun too, because you're like looking through your spells, trying to be like, all right, what's the most creative way I can use this spell in the way that it's not supposed to be used at all?
Yeah. I've heard of people use like shape water or something to just freeze like a big like ice cube and then like drop it on someone. So
that's cool.
It does all that like falling damage or something.
And that's super creative.
It's crazy.
And it's really just nicer when combat is like that.
Right.
It's more interesting to listen to and to play in.
True.
And we do get ourselves into fights a lot of the times. It's like, oh, I can see that this character we don't like is approaching, so we're gonna fight them. And it doesn't feel like, oh, we've done enough fighting. It feels like, all right, we want to fight.
True.
Is there like a specific D&D moment that you guys have, like a favorite D&D moment?
I'm trying to think. Because we've done a lot of kind of I think go ahead.
Okay. As a DM, one of my favorite moments, it's in an earlier episode of Laskia, in which I sort of inhabit NPC, Cabris, the big eldritch deity that we have, and I just I showcase just a small amount of his power, just enough to freak Victor out. Julian, I don't know if you remember this. This
yeah,
is when Cabris just like shows up and like not possesses you, but just kind of like showcases his power by like grasping at just like the muscle of your heart and giving it like a squeeze and being like, I'm here, remember me.
Yeah.
And I love freaking you guys out, not in an antagonistic way of like, oh god, I'm the enemy, it's the DM versus the players. No, absolutely not. But it is nice when little surprises like that work, and I put surprises in air quotes, but it's nice when the effect pays off. So it's definitely one of my favorite.
Yes, true. I love that scene too. I think in Roll for Rainbow, one of my favorite D&D moment kind of thing is when Victor, Saffron, and July get to just be stupid together as a unit.
Yeah.
So like the sleepover episode, I loved it so much because it was like a moment of intimacy between the characters. I felt they were like really friends and oh my god, my babies, you know?
Yeah.
It makes me really happy when you get to bond together.
And I think there's like a certain magic about D&D because it's luck. And I think like, yeah, you have your multipliers or whatever, but if you roll shitty, you're shitty. So I think there's a magic about like a poetic roll, which it didn't happen in the original Alaska campaign, but it did happen at the end of the first Honeydew, not the one that's currently running Promageddon, but it's the first one, the actual camp, where we have to roll to save a character. It's like under like a 3 that they had to get out of 100, and like the roll, like they got the roll, and it was just like such a moment of just like celebration from everybody because it was like just such this impossible thing that happened.
Yeah.
True. That one was wild though, now that you talk about it. The ending of the one shot was just a bunch of impossible worlds and everyone freaking out together.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That was so much fun.
I've heard a story of like I think it's one of our new players in a different campaign. He rolled like 3 nat 20s. Like he like went down 3 times and got a nat 20.
Yeah.
And
wow.
he just kept coming back up and coming back.
That's
and I'm
insane.
Like,
That's
dang,
insane.
That's wild. Like it's crazy. Like,
and it's such a rush too. Like it's complete dumb luck, but you got the best number 3 times. You're gonna be in a high after that.
And you're like natural 20, and you like you can see it like when people roll because we have our videos on. You can see like the joy in their face. That's great.
Yeah, and like when the video's on is because I know Julian's isn't on right now, but it normally is, and it's when something like happens, like we'll all kind of just make eye contact through the screen, and it's a moment of like shit.
Like okay, there's a thing that we always do, which is like we silently glare and flip off each other like kind of frequently. And since it's an audio medium, nobody knows it. So we have to be like, oh, okay, Emmett is flipping me off right now. But like lovingly.
Lovingly.
Oh, yeah.
/ positive.
And it's so funny when Alyssa does something that is like absolutely terrifying with her DM power. And it's like, we just stop and stare at her like the Saphria's X thing. Everyone just froze. It was so good. It's amazing.
And it happens in return too.
Yeah.
Like, you guys will definitely have moments where you will like stop me in my tracks. I think July had a really good one where Emmett like did a thing, and I went to like roll against it, and I was like, yeah, no, that works. It shouldn't, but it does. That absolutely works. So I love when you guys very lovingly and in your player magic screw me over, because it brings me such joy. It's like, yay, you've won. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, because it's like there's no like whenever I log off and when I'm living at home, like when I'm not at school, I will log off and I'll go out to the kitchen and my mom's like, "Did you win?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like,
I love that.
Like, yes,
That's so
yes,
cute.
honey. I like, because it's like, no, like I got the shit beaten out of me and I cried about it, but there's nothing. The best thing is like an absolute emotional beatdown. Like there was an episode we filmed while I was at school and I like got in the shower and cried after we filmed because it was just so much emotionally for me.
True.
All right, so have we had any character
And then-
deaths? Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
We got very close. No, it's. I'm good.
On the character death thing, I feel like I should be the one to tell it because it was me.
When did we?
Like in Laskia, we deal with a lot of wild magic just because magic shouldn't be a thing. So, it's wild. And Alyssa rolled a wild magic fireball during one of the combats. And I rolled the saving throw and I passed. Like I just barely passed. I gotta say my character's stats are shit. His life is terrible, his dex is terrible, everything about Victor is like a paper leaf. And I got half the damage. But half the damage was my whole life pool. And I turned to Alyssa and I was like, look, if I fail that, if I got like 2 numbers less, we'd have no more Victor.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it took me like half an hour to notice, I think. I brought this up way after the combat because at the moment I was like shook.
Yeah.
It was so good though. I loved it.
Not in the main campaign. We've not had any deaths. We've had major deaths in our one-shots, but they haven't come out yet.
Okay.
We can't talk about that.
We can't talk about that.
We can't talk about that.
But I'm hurting.
But we not yet. I think if Safria ever like permanently dies, I'm gonna go AWOL. Like you guys won't hear from me for 4 months.
Honestly, if anyone...
It's fun backup character time.
That's true.
True. But I feel like, I think we're attached to each other's characters right now. I think if Safria died, I would go missing in action and not come into the internet for 4 months too. Because I'm so, like, I love Safria so much. I love July so much. If any of, like, dare I say, if Victor died, I wouldn't give much of a shit. I would just make another character and go. But if like Safria or July died, I'd be in deep mourning.
I think because the same thing. Cause I was gonna say like, oh, Safria, I'd be upset about, but I would just make another person. If July or Victor died, I would like quit the podcast. Like I think we're all so like entranced with each other's characters. Because Emmett and I will be like, Emmett will text me like during a Victor monologue, just be like, I love this guy. Like,
I love that. I love that you guys monologue too. Like that's just lovely. Like I remember being very new to D&D, and then we heard our first monologue, and all my other new friends were looking at each other like, "Oh shit, this is great!" Like,
yeah,
true. And the feeling of delivering a monologue too. You feel so powerful while you're talking.
Right. And then sometimes you like.
I love having those. I love
ahead.
having those like character moments for like just giving them those like showcases, and we've done a couple of clips where we just like we use that for like promos or whatever. But like July had a really good one recently where she was talking to her dad about responsibility, and so many really raw unscripted lines come from that. What was it? It was July was like, I don't have time to be your daughter right now. I have to be a cleric. I was like,
yeah.
Ow. First of all, how dare you?
Yeah.
That's awful. But also, I love when you guys have those moments of just like either you drop a bomb on me and I'm like, what the fuck? Or you just you just managed to like reveal an element of your character that you wouldn't have been able to tell otherwise if you weren't allowed to just like kind of give your little spiel.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the time you're like, because you don't think like, oh, this is gonna be like this hard hitting moment. Like you kind of just are just talking through your character. The way that Emmett has like described, like character creation with me is that they're sitting like at a table with them, like talking to them. And I've kind of like tried to adopt that as well because I'm like, it's like a when I play Safri, I feel a little possessed. Like I feel like she possesses me. I play her and then I go log out. Like like she's like, I'm gonna talk through you, and I'm like, right, whatever. But because you're like, oh, I don't think this moment is gonna like impact you, like impact the cast in any way, and then you just like say it and everyone like stops talking for a second and you're like, oh, I just did something really cool.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I was gonna say something and I'm totally blanking.
You're so good.
Next question then, I guess. So are your or any of your guys' characters or NPCs like inspired by any other like characters from like TV shows or books or anything, or any other queer characters?
That's a good question.
I think when it comes to Victor, I'm gonna say no, because he's one of the few characters I've created like in a vacuum. I've thought him up before Alyssa came up to me with Laskia, so I had like this very vague concept of him, and everything that got mixed up into him is a direct consequence of Alyssa's world building. So he's like, he exists in the land of Laskia, and I haven't thought up of any outside references for him.
Yeah, like I think me as well, because I kind of just like in the last campaign I had played, I just kind of played like a dumb character, and I was like, I want to make a character who is a bookworm and intelligent, and then all of it went out the window the second I started playing her, because I was like, the original idea for Safria was like, I want a quiet, reserved like librarian, and the second I stepped into Safria, I was like, goodbye. None of that's happening. But then I started like talking to Alyssa about world building, and they were like, this is my concept, and I was like, great, so this is a part of her character and this is a part of her character. And like Julian said, like as I started to build, like the world started to build around Safria kind of went out of outside influences.
Mm-hmm.
But then because I am a lesbian, and I'm like, I'm going to play a lesbian every time I play a character. But then like the more I started playing, I was like, oh, this character's sexuality is outside of my own, and this character's like even gender is outside of my own, and it's like she's this completely different force than me. And it's interesting to like, as you play, like learn about this character that you've built.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah, that's very true. I think for me personally, when it comes to NPCs, I mean, I have like this pantheon of gods in Laskia that are very much real, and very much sort of reflect like research I've done through like Greco-Roman, like ancient Greco-Roman like just that polytheism was the word I was going for, but yes, mythology as well. It kind of reflects that, and also the ancient gods of like Egypt and Norse gods and things like that. Like I kind of pull inspiration from that, just in terms of their like domains and how they hold themselves and things like that. But in terms of like actual NPCs, I don't think anyone is really inspired by a specific kind of like literature or a genre, but I knew it was interesting. I knew when I started Laskia, the first thing I was like, this is an NPC I created, was Arlena Thestina, who is our lovely bartender in Orlin at the Wise Dandelion. As soon as I knew I had a world, I knew I also had an NPC, and I was like, I knew she had to be bisexual. That was the thing I knew. I knew she had a wife, and I knew she had an adopted child. And I was like, I need this to exist for me, very much so. Though I don't know if that's an inspiration or just like I want to see media that I can see myself in. And as a bisexual person myself, I was like, I need this to happen. So I think it's a matter of making media I also want to digest.
Yep.
because I think it's such like queer escapism for all four of us, because it's like this is a world where nobody bats an eye over anything sexuality or gender related, and the only problem is magic. Like,
Yeah.
there's no like real world problems that kind of mesh into this world. It's like, like Saphria can have the conversation with Mateus that she's trans, and it's not a contention point it's a contention point of her character, but it doesn't impact how people see her. It doesn't impact her story. It doesn't impact how people treat her. It's just like the fact that it is.
Yeah, instead it's like an, oh, you too.
Yeah, and we have a joke that's just like, can we have a spell that identifies pronouns that we don't have to ask? And then it's just kind of just like it's an inside joke to be like, oh, what are these characters' pronouns? But it's such a thing that like, oh, people in the world that are NPCs use like gender neutral terms. They use neopronouns. They use stuff outside of just like cis het boundary, and it's completely normalized in this like world.
Oh, I love that. Oh, sorry.
And I think I was gonna absolutely expose myself, because I don't think just the world of Laskia is like very important queer escapism, because in the first episode I presented myself as like I came out as non-binary very recently, like a year and a half ago, I think. And Roll for Rainbow is the first time where I presented myself as Julian with they them pronouns.
Aww.
So it's like it's not just the land of Laskia that's very important and a very safe space. Is the entirety of Roll for Rainbow for me that's like really, really important in that safe space thing.
Yeah, like me is like me. I'm like so happy for you, Julian, and like me as well. Like I was sitting here playing Saphri, and I was like, you know, what if I added a little they onto there? Like, so it's truly like having this like group of 3 people that you're just like so close to, and you're like, like bi queer for queer is just like the kids bop of our podcast, and it's like it's so important to have like these outlets for not only us but for listeners as well,
and to have it so like normalized must be like great, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, like when I very recently was like, I'd like to add a little they in there, as Trin put it. There was no worry about like, oh man, my friends aren't gonna like it, or oh man, changing my pronouns on the podcast is gonna be so hard. No, you just in the intro, you're like, hello folks, welcome back to Roll for Rainbow. I'm your dungeon master, Alyssa Mandracina, and I use she they pronouns. It's like there's nothing. It's so easy, and this is the one place in the world and on the internet where it's so easy and effortless to just, you know, kind of be us.
Yeah, and I feel like once you start playing D&D with a group for so long, it just kind of like you guys get so like comfortable and familiar. It just kind of starts to feel like family, you know.
Right, for sure.
I feel like I can see that with y'all. You guys are
and it's definitely, there's like 30 minutes that we have to cut up top where we're just talking because we're just so comfortable on each other that it's just like this just turns into joke day and we can't get anything done.
True. I think our record, our least talked before podcast. I can't word. Sorry. The least time we got to talk before starting actually recording, I think it was like 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes of just talking shit to each other before we actually start recording, because we can't help ourselves but to like talk and gossip and just be a joyful bunch together. It's adorable.
Right.
Yeah, like I totally forget that like we're here for D&D, and I'm like, oh, all my friends are here, let's chat, you know.
No, yeah.
True.
Is there, I know you guys are all really attached to your characters, but is there like a tie for another character that you wanted to play, or like another potential character that kind of like holds a little place in your heart?
Ooh.
I have an idea for a spare one, because I know the very real possibility that my warlock is not gonna make it for several reasons. besides me just choosing to play on hard mode and having shit stats. I have an idea of a stronger character, let's say.
Yeah.
I really like barbarians, okay?
Yeah.
And I really like the wild magic table. So maybe a wild magic barbarian would be fun.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
I've always I do have a soft spot for a gunslinger cowgirl. Like I think about it constantly day and night of a fighter gunslinger cowgirl. That's just like, yeah, I live in Kisa, which is kind of a rocky mining area, and I ride a horse and I am a gunslinger. It's just like,
oh god.
it's you know, Saphria could die, like we've said, very real possibility, but I'm thinking about it. Like
Do you guys think you would ever like retire a character? Like do you think you could ever like get tired playing your character, or like ever come to a point where you're like, she's a little too traumatized. Maybe we give her a break and let her have her go home for a bit and like bring in a new character.
I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be like, oh, in this for like 3 sessions or something, like our characters are like got like kidnapped or something, and we have to be these 3 other characters that have to band together and like do the thing. Like I think that would be fun, and like a fun way to play a backup character.
True. Also, on the last Gia campaign, I don't see Victor doing that for personal reasons, which I cannot spoil. But
so true.
I really like the idea of just I've finished my character arc. I've finished growing. I need to be someone else to like grow this world too. I really like it. I just don't think it would happen with my little warlock.
And I can't imagine a world where our 3 characters are so attached at the hip at this point that I don't think there's a world in which the adventure ends and they're just like, bye. Like I think it's like these 3 horrible teens get an apartment, and 3 horrible 20-somethings get an apartment and live out the rest of their days. Like it's
yes.
Yeah.
I love the found family trope. God fucking damn it.
I love a found family.
Who doesn't love a good found family trope?
True.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a total sucker for it, you know. Do you guys have a favorite NPC that you've met or had or created?
I'm interested to hear the answer to this one.
Mateus.
Oh.
I love that guy.
I really love Mateus, but I gotta say Bella Luna and Arlena just because of the events on the podcast. I like, they're my moms.
Yeah, the Thestinas, just as a family unit, are definitely some of my favorites to play, just because they're so clear in my head. Like Trin was talking about before, with like the little diner booth in your brain that you talk to him with. It's like, I understand you perfectly. We see each other. But in terms of like just someone different, Cabris is really fun. He, again, the Eldritch deity, is just really fun to play with, because he's such an asshole. He's so mean to everyone all the time. He's very much like neutral evil, I think, would be a very good alignment for him, because he's just like, I'm in it for me, myself, and I, and whoever I'm with, have fun, I guess, and maybe I'll help you if it helps me, but I just love seeing him like sort of poke at the end, sort of poke at the PCs and be like, do something, I want to see what you're gonna do.
Another.
Go
on.
I don't think we've gotten our like enough. I think Mateus is the reigning fave, because I think we've had him for the longest. So I think like the more, because it's crazy that we've been playing for a year, but we only have 15 episodes out. Like it's kind of crazy that it's been, because I feel like we I don't know. I just feel like you feel like, oh, that should be a lot longer than that, but it's not. And so it's like, I feel like the farther we get into the story, because we'll be playing this for years at this point, which is crazy to think about. That the farther we get into the story, the more characters we'll like bond with.
Yeah. Another another NPC that I really, really love is August.
Oh yeah.
I can respect that man so much. I feel for him truly and deeply, and I want nothing but his happiness, though that's hard.
I'm told August Sampson compares to the Galir Faith of Dimension 20's Fantasy High campaign. I don't know how I feel about that because it wasn't intentional, but it's so funny to me.
Who told you that? Just like someone on Twitter?
No, Emmett. Emmett was like, he's a Galir Faith, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But actually...
I don't see that because that man eats puss, and...
Trinity! Trinity! You can't just say things like that.
Oh, you're allowed to be raunchy. We just had a whole 50 Shades of Fae book club thing.
Oh, okay.
It was a book club. It was a bunch of MILFs, and they were having a 50 Shades of Fae book club.
That's so real.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I've been trying to keep it to a minimum. I'm normally so much worse. Like,
I mean, feel free. I mean, we don't really hold anything back, so you know.
No,
okay.
I do love August.
Do you guys have a
Apria doesn't. Trinity does.
Favorite NPC, like someone who's just like a total asshole, like you try to like poke at them any chance you get?
May Everglow.
May Everglow sucks.
We have a hate club against her.
My ex-girlfriend and my ex-girlfriend's fiance, I do love to make fun of them.
Phelan and music don't deserve it. They're good
Phelan
people.
And music suck. My goodness.
They're good people. She just doesn't love you anymore.
Who cares, bitch? Let's go.
Also, as a player, not as a character, the Winter Eladrin, I have an issue with her. I have a big issue with her.
Yes.
I don't know if that episode came out yet. I don't remember.
They've met the Winter Eladrin. They haven't met her as the Spring Eladrin, which... Oh, no, yes, they have. They have, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's a little mysterious. She's a little, no one really knows what her deal is. She's just kind of following the party around, which is interesting.
Get a job, for real. Like, get a job.
Get a
job.
So true.
Maybe she's just what are they called? Like the people who like follow like bands and stuff.
Groupie.
Yeah, maybe she's just
yeah.
a little groupie.
She is.
So true.
She just likes us so much.
She really does. She just wants
You're
us.
so popular.
I want in.
This popular group in Laskia.
She must be part of the band. And I did a little snooping on your Twitter, right? And one of the players drew the cover art for Laskia, right? For your episodes?
That's me.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's Trin.
I was like,
Yep,
it is
I did.
beautiful.
I do most of the art. Julian does some of it. I do some of it.
Okay. So I was like, oh, that's gorgeous. I love that.
Oh, thank you. I do like making the cover arts because it's like, because so many times you see a podcast cover and you're like, that is the worst thing I've ever seen, and I could do better than that.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is my job and my duty to make my podcast fun to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, if I'm being honest, I don't even know what our this campaign's cover art is.
But I know for sure, having two artists in the group is so much fun because it's like, the session ends and the group chat's just like, bum, 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 bum. Here's a bunch of drawings from everything we just did. Love you.
True.
And
I love that. I was like, I don't think any of us really have an artist bone in our body. So we used to make make memes. We would get in almost meme template thingies.
Yeah.
And we would make memes off of popular ones. Or we would put little text over vines. It'd be like, oh yeah, these are these two characters.
once after the sleepover episode thing, like we stopped playing, and like half an hour later, I pop up in the chat with a whole ass comic page
Oh my god, it
about
was so
what
good.
just happened, and like memes too. I think Trin made a changeling pride flag.
Changeling
once
Pride
we
Month?
started. Yeah,
Because I said, like, someone said Happy Pride Month at the end of the episode about a changeling, and I was like, yep, that's funny, and I'm gonna do that.
I love that. What does that look like, by the way?
It was just a rainbow superimposed over the Wikipedia article of a changeling. Like, it wasn't anything special.
I love that. Oh. Well, I have asked all the questions that I have created.
Ooh.
I wish I had more because you guys are a blast. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, is there anything else that you guys want to add? Any other special moments?
Special moments. I think Alyssa can speak to this, of getting like such reactions out of a player. Like, I remember at Honeydew 1 was supposed to be like 2 hours at most, and I think we ran for like 6 hours and had to split it up because we were all just so in it that we just didn't stop.
Yep.
And we were all just in tears by the end of it, just like full crying. And it's like, just to have such a reaction out of a story you tell is so gratifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then having the players respond in such a way that also makes you cry is so gratifying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's such an experience. And this group is just full of like incredible actors and improvisers that it's just like, wow, this moment just punched me in the gut, and I'm gonna think about this for the next 4 days.
True.
So Laskia and Honeydew, are they two separate, like, campaigns?
So
or
Laskia is the main campaign ran by Alyssa. It's high fantasy, and Honeydew is using actually the Call of Cthulhu system, and it's just set in like an 80s like slasher summer camp. And the one that we're running right now, like the one that's going through the feed, is like, it's 34 years later or something, and it's set present day.
36.
36, thank you. And it's about their kids. So it's like, it's just a continuation. It's just like when we all need like a break from like the main and like the main thing, and give Alyssa a break from like planning and stuff, we kind of just step in and do little fun one-shots. Gives us a chance to like test out new characters, new systems and stuff.
Yeah, we
also
definitely
give
have...
Alyssa a little break from
Oh god,
gaming.
yes, please.
God, did they deserve it.
Thank you. I love that. Because yeah, it that's what's great about this group too, is that everyone's kind of willing to like step up. When I was like, hey guys, I've been doing a lot lately. I just need like to take 5 from DMing. So if I could step down on that duty and someone else step up, and Trim being like, I have something, and Emmett's like, I have something, and Julian's like, I have something. It was so nice to see, because it's like, okay, great. I'm not the forever DM. You know what I mean? I can step down every now and then, and that's what's great about having a podcast with friends, is that it's just like we all are there for each other, not just at the table, but like outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I think we worry about each other's health too. Like Alyssa may be like, oh, I'm feeling overworked, or I may be like, oh, I'm feeling unwell today, and everyone's just so supportive. Like, everyone is so damn nice. They're like, oh no, okay, we can skip out this week. Don't stretch yourself too much, or like anything like that. We care about each other more than we care, not about the game itself, but like we like each other more than any possibility of like big buck business. It's like, it's not cutthroat or anything.
Yeah, it's like, I'm in this for the business. Like, I'm not in it to be your guys' friends. Are you kidding? Like,
like locking up Alyssa and Emmett in the basement so they can edit faster. We'd never do that.
Oh god. Sometimes I wish someone would, because god, I need that
no.
kick.
We
I think
refuse.
the dream, capital T, capital G for me, or capital D for me, is like having all four of us be able to be like, all right, we're gonna go like get like a little Airbnb and play together like in person for like a week. Like that just sounds like the most fun ever to me, because it's like playing over Zoom is fun, but playing in person is just such a different energy. And it's like, yeah, they're my friends. I do want to also hang out with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, like half of us are like, we're all from Texas. So I'm like, well, if we fly the other 3 of you out.
Yeah.
You know? It's only a 2-day drive.
Truth. I mean, we're all in different time zones, usually, unless Emma and I are recording during like the college season, because we go to the same college. But it would be nice, because we have talked about it, to just like go to like California, get a Airbnb, and just sit and like play games and like maybe even like live stream it. Like I think something fun like that, because we do like, I've never been in the same room as all 4 of us like ever, and I would love to do that sometime.
Yeah, and it is bizarre when
It's
you
the
do
dream.
like see each other in person. Like I went and I visited last fall, and just being in the same room was like, what the fuck are you doing out of my computer? Like
I was like, oh my god, you're so tall? What?
Oh my god, you're real. You're
real and 6 foot tall. Get out of my house.
You being like 6 feet tall is bonkers to me, because me is like 5'10". I thought I was gonna be a little taller than you, and I was like, no.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
I'm terrified of being the oldest and tiniest one out of everyone.
Joke's on you, old man. You're small.
I'm old and tiny, no.
God. You saying you're old and tiny at 25 is crazy to me.
I'm not 25, I'm 23.
23. No, sorry. I said 25 because
35.
I'm thinking... Yes, I'm thinking of that, and the fact that Trin's like MILF indicator is like anyone over the age of 25 is a MILF.
True.
MILF is a state of mind.
MILF is a state of mind.
Yeah.
Episode 5, baby.
Yeah, like one of our players, like he has a wife, and I'm like, I'm 19, and I think that's just crazy to think about. Like, this man is married. Like, what?
Yeah, I
it
do
is
a D&D
insane.
group with my work friends also. Like, we like go and hang out, and like most of them are like 30 with like a wife, and I'm like, oh my god.
It's like you could have a child, and like that's crazy.
You very much could have a child, and instead you're playing with these funny magic rocks. Like, oh my god.
These funny magic rocks, god.
Which is like, I respect it.
Oh,
I do respect it.
Mine aren't being so funny. They think it's a little too funny to like roll low, and I'm like, get in shape, please. Like,
God.
I brought in a new character, and she missed like every shot she took, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Oof.
See, the fun thing is, Alyssa loves to give us little presents, so my dice for Saphria are from Alyssa, and every time they roll bad, I can just blame it on her. Be like, Alyssa, your fucked up dice are messing up again.
Okay.
Alyssa is single-handedly responsible for most of my die collection. I love you.
No. I love you too. I love you too. Here's the thing. I am an absolute dice goblin. I have here's a fun fact. I have over 50 sets of just like different sets of the polyhedral array. Like I have anything from like metal to resin. I just recently got not glow in the dark. Light up dice that are like LED.
Ooh.
Truly dice are my love language. I will put that out there.
It's the best one.
They make some crazy dice too.
True. Yeah, I got heat color changing ones, which are pretty neat. Floaty little like eyeball one, like the liquid fills ones, where it's like if you move the eyeball, it moves with it. Very nifty.
Oh, that's so cool though.
Yeah, not to brag, but I'm a little bit of a collector. But
Oh, full on brag.
Yeah,
Not
I
to brag, but I have an issue.
I think Max is our like dice dragon of the group. That's kind of his shtick.
Oh, I love that.
It's so
And
fun, especially
honestly-
when you have like people over and you're playing with a group and you're like, take your pick.
True. I was about to say that. When I was in college, I was playing with like not online, like IRL. I don't know the word for this. With a friend, and he was the only one out of all of us who had dice, because where I am, they're kind of expensive. So he was the only one who had him, and he lended us his dice every time. So like every good D&D group needs a dice goblin, otherwise no one can have fun.
Yeah.
Because like when I play with my roommates, we never actually like play D&D. Like there's no rules or anything. It's just all of us just sitting in a room like, all right, we're gonna pretend to be on Love Island for 3 hours and then we're gonna pack up. But it's like, and there's no rules. It's just all D20s and there's no character sheets. Like it's just like all like just messed up. But I like bring out my cup full of D20s and I'm like, everyone take one that's your favorite color. Enjoy. Like
I love that. Or like you roll to a group and someone like doesn't have their dice and you're like, ooh, take a pick, take your pick. Like you get to
take your pick. I have quite a few. It's like, all right.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
So true.
I had made a little like dice bag that I think like the Critical Role store has like one where it's like all sectioned that they sell, and I'm like, I like that idea, and I just like made it, but like
I love making
way
things.
cheaper because I was
I'm
like,
a cheap
I
bitch.
Make something,
don't want to pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, DIY is like life. You should be not paying for big buck stuff. Just do it.
No, but Julian's a crazy breed of that, where they're like, I want a t-shirt, and then just pulls it out of their ass. It's like, all right, you have a t-shirt now.
I just showed up on call one day, and I was like, today I chose violence, and I made a shirt, and I lifted up like an orange Percy Jackson shirt.
Yes.
I love that.
I was like,
By the way, I made
what
another
do you
one.
mean you made that? You made another one?
Yeah, you made
I made
a
another
shirt.
one.
Oh
Fun
my
fact,
God.
the new one does not have sleeves because I did not have enough fabric for that.
Oh, you
Very
like
valid.
made it.
No,
I
made
made
it.
it like from
I thought-
scratch.
Yeah, made it.
I thought you meant you put like words on it or something,
Yeah.
and I was like,
That's what we also thought, and then they're like, no, I made it. And we're like, oh,
No,
you made it.
I bought the fabric and I made it from scratch. Alyssa gave me a little set of dye, and I picked up some. I think you pronounce it iridescent.
Iridescent.
Iridescent. Thank you. I've only ever read that word. Like
No
I
worries.
picked up an iridescent.
Iridescent.
Iridescent. Thank you. I cannot.
You're so good.
Little piece of fabric that I got, and I made the dice a little home because the fabric is like it shines like the dice.
oh, I
And
love that.
I love DIY stuff. I love sewing. I think it's a very good life skill for anyone, but you don't have to make a Percy Jackson shirt from scratch.
Yeah, no.
It's not necessary, but it's fun.
A basic stitch will do you just fine.
Yeah, like
True.
I always need something to do with my hands. Like, so I've just been crocheting this whole time because I need something to do with my hands. It's like you look at the recording, it's like, why does she keep looking down?
I've overestimated how long my computer will last, so I do have to go grab a charger, but I will be like 2 seconds. So
Okay.
sorry.
Okay,
No
it's
worries.
alright.
Prank call, let's all leave. I'm kidding.
Hello for Dani later. You're the best. Thank you so much for
Hi,
this.
Dani.
Love you.
Love you, whoever's editing.
Surprise!
Yes, whoever's
love.
editing. Surprise.
Hi,
love.
whoever's editing.
Hi, whoever's editing.
Hello, editor.
Hello, editor.
We're sending love.
You're wonderful. You're doing a great
Thank
job.
you
Editor,
for
if
your
you're
hard
free.
work.
Editor, if you're free, no. You took a turn.
Crisis averted.
Welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that would have been awful if I was like, oh no, and then it just like it died and I
Right.
lost the
Vanished.
entire recording, and I'm like, ooh,
No.
that would be rough.
Yeah, it's like, all right, interview's over.
Interview's over. Go home.
Yeah.
Leave.
Get out of here. Scream.
You
Screw.
crazy kids.
Get off my lawn.
Oh god.
But yeah, Max is he's like our dice man. He also will just like buy like the craziest shit, and like he's like sent us a picture and he's like, guess what's in this box? And we're like, dude, I have no idea. And he pulls out like a wall mounted like dragon head, and it just sits in the
God.
background.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I wish I was rich enough to do like to do that. Like I wish I had unlimited money because I definitely would buy a bunch of crazy shit. Like
I was like, I wish I had the money you did, Max. Sir,
Sir.
you're living the life.
Yeah, I'm
And-
lucky
and to
enough to
add
get
props
gifted
to your
my
games.
stuff.
No, because he has this D20, and apparently it's made out of like human bone, and I am so jealous.
Oh my
What?
god, I've seen that website. That's yes, I've
I'm
heard
so
about that.
jealous. I was like, how? How do you? As much as I wish I had it, I don't think I could ever justify buying something that expensive. You
shit
know?
haunted. Yeah.
Those are
True.
like at least $1,000. Like you're dropping $1,000 on a D20, which is crazy.
Yeah. Like,
My friend, we found like that. I think it might be the same website or at least a similar one where they just have like a bunch of crazy D20s, and there's one made out of like pure tungsten, which is like the heaviest metal, and it's just
Holy
like
shit.
weighs like 50 pounds or something stupid.
oh my goodness.
And
That
she's
is
like, I want that. I'm like, that is the worst purchase you could make ever.
But I
Dies
would
the
also
extravagance.
want it.
Yeah, right?
True.
Like you
So
start rolling
true.
and just break the table.
Oh my goodness.
If
It just
you
sits on
toss it
display,
hard
and you
enough,
have like random people just come in and be like, oh yeah, pick it up, and they're like,
if you
Yeah,
toss
pick it
it
up.
hard enough, you roll to hit and also for damage.
Yeah, right?
You're so right.
it's its own D&D item now.
They don't need
It's
the
the
item.
ultimate
Touch the
D&D
D20,
item.
just fucking chuck it at someone.
But yeah, it was a pleasure interviewing you guys and hearing
Thank
all
you
about
for
your
having us.
campaign.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah.
us.
This has been great.
Guys, yeah, it's been wonderful. It's also wonderful to see like LGBT representation in D&D.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Cause I'm if I'm being honest, like when I first got into D&D, I expected it to just be a lot of like older white men.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
And
Oh, yeah.
so it's like really nice to see like diversity in it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we are so happy to steal this from Gygax for sure.
True. I was about to
I got
say
roll in your
that.
grave.
I was like, Gary Gygax must be rolling on his grave, and I'm laughing at him.
Mm.
Just,
Mhm.
the one thing about our podcast is I'm surprised nobody's a tiefling, because that's the gayest race.
True.
Yeah.
And
I
like
thought
that's the
for
most
sure
pure
someone
race.
Sim
in
for
D&D.
tieflings.
So
I'm
am
an
I.
elf enjoyer.
I love
elf
tieflings
enjoyer.
so much.
I just want to make all of my characters tieflings.
True.
Like
I think changelings are a good queer second contestant, but
Mhm.
Oh, so true.
I'm biased.
I feel like tieflings are like the gay one, and then changelings are the like non-cis one, you know?
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah, the genderqueer sort of
Uh-huh.
gender non-conforming.
True.
Mhm. But like I have a tiefling, and I have two that I played. One, she was like sweet, wholesome, and then the other one, like, oh no, gay sailor, that's who he is.
Yeah,
Oh, so
he's-
true.
He's like, I
Oh, so
sucked
true.
that dick because I didn't want to owe the man anything. That's
That's
why I did it.
That's fucking Saphria. I love playing characters like that.
I
Your
love
character
just
is
being like a
right.
total flirt, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think I could make any more like just cis het characters. Like, I just want to flirt with everybody.
True, a good point. Also, I must add on, Ozimar are also gay, but they're like gay if you don't want to give up your religion, which is also very cool.
Truth.
Like
I'm
there's
partial to a high elf,
tiefling
but I
gay
couldn't
and
play a high elf
Ozimar
this
gay.
time, so I went for Eladrin.
I mean, you could have played a high elf. You absolutely
could
could
have,
have.
but Emmett yelled at me. Oh,
Emmett yelled at you.
Everything else I do, I was like, I can't play a high elf again.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I expected more, like I said, like straight white men, but it's also kind of surprising to see a kind of large like queer presence in D&D, you know.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
it's like-
wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I
Which,
feel like
makes
Oh, sorry.
sense, you know, but also, you know,
because a lot of media
It's-
representation of D&D is it's like here is 5 men in their parents' basement and they haven't gone outside in weeks and they also haven't showered. It's like hot girls play D&D. Come
Yeah.
on. Like,
So true. And it's so nice to interact with other, like, to know that we're kind of like not an island of just like, here's all the queer representation, we're here. Like, if you like interacting with like awfully queer heroes and
Yeah.
Love Wins Craft, and podcasts like that who are just these delightful examples of representation within the community. It's like, yay, we're not alone here. This is great.
We've got besties.
and like I know this isn't true for all people, but I have yet to meet like a queer person who is just like awful. Like I feel like all the queer people that I've met like in college and like stuff, they're just like nice people because they're just like, yeah, you know, like
I definitely met some awful queer people, but like they're outliers mostly.
yeah, I feel like the queer
Yeah.
community is usually pretty nice.
Yeah, like just because you're queer doesn't mean you're a good person, but they usually are. Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think there's also the thing that like the nicer queer people, they see other people struggling and they want to show support, so they're like extra nice. And like on a sadder note, I think there's also the queer people that feel like they have to be nice to be validated. Like, oh, if I'm mean, this person is gonna misgender me because they don't respect me as a queer person. They just their kindness to me is I forgot the word. Like, it depends on the
Conditional?
circumstance. Yeah, it's conditional. Thank you. And like that happens too. So there's like there's the insecurity, there's the wanting to see younger queer people do better and be better and like grow up in a healthier environment. And I think that that's important too. Like,
Yeah.
there are awful queer people, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that the nicer folks aren't like super nice.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and Emmett could confirm this if they were here, but we've absolutely like talked shit about other queer people, maybe rightfully so, but we always like check the pronouns first. It's like, are we talking shit about the behind your back in the right pronouns?
True.
I will correctly talk shit about you.
Like, I'm gonna talk shit about you and I'm gonna hate you, but I'm gonna do it respectfully.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I'm gonna be a little disrespectful, but not a piece of trash, you know?
Yeah. Like, I respect you as a human being enough to respect your identity, but I don't respect you enough as a human being to not talk shit about you. 'Cause you're fucking up.
Yeah.
It's limits.
Limits.
Thank
got
you so much for
standards.
having us on.
Oh, yes. Thank you
By the way.
for
This is
coming
great.
and letting us interview. I was like, as one of the, like, resident queers of our group, I felt like I had to come
Yeah,
do this.
You're the person
You know.
for the task.
Yeah.
Yeah, me seeing you guys tweet that out and being like, DM us, I was like, I'm on it, I'm here. And then when you're like, we'd like to do an interview, I was like, let me text the group. And it was like 3 immediate, oh my god, yeses. So we were just
Yeah.
all very excited.
True. We were
It's-
freaking out.
Mhm.
We're like, oh my god, we're so important now.
We're so bored. Oh my god, guys, we're famous.
Like, guys, people want to talk to us?
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna be interviewed.
I looked at you like when you created your Twitter, and you guys seem like you've really just like boomed a lot, and I think that's really impressive.
True.
It definitely feels good to like have that support.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, but it always feels like a huge surprise whenever numbers go up. Like, one of these days, Alyssa just sent a print screen to the chat like, oh, we got 300 followers, and I was like, okay, what the fuck? How?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I mean, it's less of a surprise to me because I'm there every day, but it is always so gratifying to just like wake up one morning and just like see that the numbers have gone up like 15 followers. It's like, oh, hello, interesting. Happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
But I think part of that like growth is just persistence, because there is definitely you will have a little like wibble wobble, and that's fine. That's okay. That is the nature of the internet. You won't keep everyone's attention for the entire time, but you will definitely. I think just interacting with people and being interested in other people's projects in the way that you would like other people to be interested in your project is a great way to grow, because people like sincerity. People like empathy, or at least they should. And it's and it's good to just like, I've met so many great people through this platform, and just talking to them about like, what are your methods? What do you do? How do you record? I've learned so many editing tips from people. I just learned how to sync lock tracks like a month ago, and it was great.
I don't even know what that means. Like,
I know. I'm like, that sounds cool, but I don't know what that means. I was
No,
like, I
sorry.
just play D&D. I don't really do any of the like editing, recording stuff. Shout out to JJ and Daniel who do that.
Yeah,
Shout out to those editors out there. We get it.
Thanks for recording for us.
I think we were actually even discussing another day, like, how much editing Emmett and Alyssa do, because they have to take out, I mean, they don't have to take out, but they take out all the little ums and those inflections that we do with our speeches that makes it like less fluent and hard to understand, and language tics and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it the other day, and it's like, it's insane the amount of work editors do. Like, shout out to every single editor out there. Mad respect.
Yeah. I was like, sometimes I can barely even make my computer function, never mind being like well versed enough to actually like edit things and not just like have them disappear and lose them. I'm like,
So
why
true.
can't I delete this folder? There's nothing in it. So just like the computer literacy to like do all that is so impressive
Crazy.
and mind-blowing.
True.
And like also all the social media work that you guys do.
That's all
I was in
Alyssa.
charge of
Yeah.
the Twitter for like a short period of time, but I was like, I can't do this. I've never used Twitter before this. I don't know what is a tweet supposed to have? I was
No,
like,
yeah.
I just watch my little videos on Instagram. That's my social media presence.
How do
Literally-
I talk to people?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I started because I was also not a big Twitter user before the podcast. Like, I was like, I had to learn, because my main like social media is Facebook, as grandma-ish as that makes me sound. I definitely had to be like, how do you use hashtags? What is the best way to use a hashtag? It was definitely a lot of like watching and learning, because watching folks like Reckless Attack and Double DM podcast and again Awfully Queer Heroes, like watching them make their like self promo Saturday posts and their TTRPG Rising posts, being like, how do you guys do that? And I think to create the format, I did literally like copy and paste the format and then just change the wording of it, because I was like, this works, and I appreciate that. But yeah, the social media aspect is a lot of just like it gets tiring because it's so much of it, but like it's still so fun to see just interact with other people and being like, you're doing this cool thing, I'm doing this cool thing, let's do cool things together.
Yeah,
like all I could really contribute would be being funny on the internet, but nothing of like business or anything. Like if I'm like, I'm gonna log in to make a funny tweet and then log out. Like,
yeah.
So true.
Or like they'll be like, oh, eventually if we decide to make merch down the line, we have to think about getting the rights from our artists. And I'm like, that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
That's a lot of words.
Yeah, I was so grateful to Trin when I was like, hey, if I made a Redbubble, how would you feel about that? And them being just like, this is fine, we are good.
oh my god, I don't care. Like
I don't care, this is fine.
I love that. But yeah, thank you guys again so much for being in here, offering up all this information about your podcast, and it's been lovely to have you, honestly.
Thank you for having us.
It's been lovely to be here.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Nerdies, make sure you guys go check out Roll for Rainbow, check out their podcast, go check out their Twitter, and it's Roll for Rainbow with like the number 4, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so Roll for Rainbow number 4, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.